everybody, it's David here. I'm with Sherlock. I find myself on Google Maps several times per day. I could be looking for an optimal route for the day's errands, choosing a restaurant for a weekend trip, or choosing which hiking trail fork will have better views. So I knew Google Maps would be my primary tool for detailed route planning on my Transamerican bicycle ride this summer. I already made a video on why I chose the Western Express to the Transamerica Trail, so that's not the purpose of this video. Instead, I'd like to go into the detail of how I can plan my potential stops along the way. Not many people are aware of Google's My Maps feature. It allows users to create customized Google Maps with tracks, pins, and shapes. I knew I needed to start with getting the route itself plotted in my map. I found various KML, KMZ, and GPX files scattered across the web, and I chose the ones that were the most detailed and accurately matched up with the roads when I zoomed in. There wasn't a single file with the Western Express and the Transamerica Trail, so I used a free web-based tool called GPX Studio to break down the entire route into 50 or so chunks for GPX files that would be uploaded to my bike's GPS head unit. I don't think the little GPS would handle or maybe even be able to load the full 3,800 mile long GPS file. I then brought my full route into my custom Google map, and it looked like this. I had fun with the map in its early stage, just zooming in to various regions and looking at the names of the cities I'd be traveling through. Cities like Austin, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Lexington. Wow, those are some major metropolises, David. Your ride's going to be very urban. Well, I apologize for the little trick I just played on you. I will, in fact, be riding through Austin, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Lexington, but it will be Austin, Nevada, Pittsburgh, Kansas, Houston, Missouri, and Lexington, Virginia. I certainly didn't know that those cities existed prior to planning this trip. So the first items that I wanted to put along my route were grocery stores. I'd much rather be stopping at those than gas stations due to their prices and selection variety. So I started in Vallejo, California, and did searches for groceries and supermarkets along my route. When there was one on the route, I pinned it in my groceries section of the map and moved continually east. In more remote areas, I was more willing to plot a grocery store that was a minor detour from the route, like here in Silver Springs, Nevada. It was interesting to see that in small-town America, Family Dollar and Dollar General are unfortunately the most common options. With all the grocery stores I could find plotted west to east, I could now see some dead zones where I knew I'd need to stock up. For example, I'll be loading up my panniers with groceries in Fallon, Nevada to last me until Eureka, Nevada. But I know I can get by with not planning ahead as much on that stretch between Vallejo, California to Placerville, California. Next were restaurants. Right now, this section is largely the McDonald's along the route just because they're known for having the best Wi-Fi out of all the fast food chains. I think actual restaurant choice for when I do go to a restaurant will be a day-to-day decision or a day of decision. I use the same process as with groceries, dropping pins along the route from west to east. Convenience stores are plotted only if there's a large gap between grocery stores. So if there's a Circle K in the parking lot of a Kroger, that Circle K would not get a pin. But if it were the only option for 20 miles in either direction, then it earned a pin on my map. Next was bike shops. This was an interesting one because I had to deviate far off the route in certain regions to find them. But if I have a bicycle emergency in those areas, I'd like to know where the nearest bike shops are, even if it means a long detour or even an Uber out to a bike shop. Here's an example in Kansas. I'm still working on sites. I created this category to track things like viewpoints and historical markers or state lines, where I'll probably want to enjoy a stretch or a rest or a photo. Right now, Accommodations is largely campsites, bike hostels, churches that open their doors to cyclists, and city parks that allow overnight camping. I found these either through searches on the maps or from reading ride reports from fellow Transamerican cyclists on Crazy Guy on a Bike. Although I know I'll be staying at the occasional hotel, I don't have these plotted since I'm a cheapskate, and I would rather wait until I can know what the nightly rates are going to be for the days that I would need them. My final category is laundry. Hopefully there'll be laundry facilities at many of the facility-rich campsites along the route. But I also plotted laundromats along the route. Just like with groceries, there are some dry stretches that I'll need to plan ahead for. With all the categories plotted, you can see how detailed this map has become, to the point where it's difficult to even see that brown route line beneath all the pins. My intention would be to open this and zoom into my location at the start of each cycling day to remind myself of what's ahead. I'd be happy to share this map with any future Transamerican cyclist, but I wouldn't be able to guarantee if and when these establishments are open. For example, I wouldn't want a future cyclist to show up for the night at a city park that's pinned on my map, only to be turned away by local law enforcement. Adventure Cycling's maps, while expensive, have a team that regularly post errata and changes to their published maps on their website. Hope this explanation of my detailed route planning is of use to a future Transamerican cyclist. I personally can't wait to be cruising through these towns and appreciating these stops along the way.